If you're thinking about moving to the Tampa area, you're probably looking at these 2 counties, maybe these 3 counties: Pinellas County, Hillsborough County, and Pasco County. Let's talk a little bit more about Pinellas County. Here we go. I'm Sam, and thanks for coming by the Living in Tampa channel, where we make videos for you about what it's like to live and move to Tampa. Also, we are a real estate team, so if you have any real estate needs, we would love to be your first call here in the Florida market. We'd love to just help you kind of narrow things down, think through the process, and help you in any way we can. So give us a call, send us a text, send us an email. We would love to connect with you. So if you're thinking about moving to Florida, maybe you're narrowed down on an area like Tampa, or you're narrowed down to like the West Coast versus the East Coast. But then once you even narrow in on Tampa, it's a pretty big area with 3-4 counties, maybe 5 counties that make up the area. Especially from the outside perspective, you might lump in Sarasota and Bradenton, those areas. And you might think of Tampa as city, or you might think of Tampa as beach, or you might think of Tampa just as Florida. Who cares what you're that close to? But I want to run through some of the things that stand out to me about Pinellas County that I think might help you decide whether or not it's for you. And these are not like pros or cons. These are not the best things. These are not the worst things. These are the most consistent things. And there's quite a few towns in this county. So Pinellas County, this peninsula over here, used to be part of Hillsborough County, then broke off years ago and became its own county. Pinellas County, kind of the highlights are beaches. The towns that are kind of make up this primary area that you might know of are St. Petersburg and Clearwater. There's a lot of towns in between there. And just in general, there's a lot of towns in this county. This is the most densely populated county in the whole state, with a little over 1 million people. And some people are proud of this, some people are not. It's a very purple county. So about half of it votes Republican, about half of it votes Democrat. And it's often one of those counties that during an election, when they're counting all the ballots, things like that, they look to this county and a couple other counties in the US to kind of predict which way the results will lean. I live on the north side of this county in Tarpon Springs. For me to drive all the way to the south side of the county, the south side of St. Petersburg, would take me about an hour. That is the first thing on our list. Most people in Pinellas County have a distinct hatred for US Highway 19. I actually had a car accident like a week ago on this highway. There's a stretch of US 19 just south of Tarpon Springs in Palm Harbor. It's one of the most dangerous state highway stretches for pedestrians, not just for cars. It's up there for cars. There's a lot of accidents. But it's a very dangerous stretch for pedestrians. There's not many sidewalks, or you have to walk really far to get to a sidewalk, north or south. And so people just try to cross this road, and it's 4 lanes of traffic going each direction. And then it's one of those roads, you've been on them, where the speed limit's like 55, but everybody goes about 70. And then there's a lot of traffic lights on it, so people are just having to come to a stop so fast. So that was the number one common thing here in Pinellas County. Most people that live over this way hate this highway. Avoid it if you can. It's awful during commute times. It's awful all the time. One really unique thing about this county is the Pinellas Trail, this old railroad that went north and south the distance of the entire county. It's 40 or 50 miles, and it's all paved, really nice trail now. Technically, it's a bike trail that they let people walk and run on. People get kind of intense about that sometimes, but it's a really nice wide trail that we go on all the time. So my wife grew up in this area and didn't really think much of the trail growing up, but now our daughter's 4 and loves to ride a bike. So getting her out on the trail, it's really like smooth and safe, and it crosses some roads, and you have to be cautious in some areas, but not as much as like riding on a sidewalk or riding on a street. This trail also connects to some other trails. So one that goes up into Pasco County, I think it's called the Suncoast Trail. There's a lot of trails, and people are really into that kind of thing here. And that actually surprised me. So we moved here from Colorado, and I was surprised to see some of that. And I was surprised to see how into it people were. Okay, another really common thing in Pinellas County is easy access to beaches. So there's beaches all the way up this coast. And these are the beaches for Tampa. Tampa has a little beach, maybe a couple little beaches kind of in town, but those are on the bay. Those are not on the Gulf, so they're different. But starting in the south, St. Pete Beach, often one of the top beaches by TripAdvisor or whoever does those kind of ratings. St. Pete Beach is often up there really high. And then as you go north from there up to Clearwater Beach, there's a lot of little beaches in between. So going north from St. Pete Beach, you've got like Treasure Island, Madeira Beach, Reddington Beach, Indian Shores, Bel Air Beach, Sand Key, all the way up to Clearwater Beach. Sand Key is actually one of my favorites. There's just a few little condo buildings out there, and it's a really nice public beach. But I often say when people are moving here that the best beach is usually the one that is the closest to you. So there's a beach about 8 minutes from our house, and that's the best beach for us. You know, these Instagram-worthy beaches are often really overhyped and a lot of work to get to. And if you're visiting, if you're here on vacation, some of those more Instagram-worthy beaches with restaurants really close by might be really nice. But if you live here, you probably don't care in that same kind of way. You're probably just looking for a place to watch the sunset, to pick up some shells, to swim a little bit, maybe to get out on a kayak or paddleboard. And usually the closest beach is the best option for you. And there's beaches all along this coast. Okay, number 3 really common thing about this county, you can see how it's kind of surrounded by water. It's this kind of awkward peninsula, and you often have an annoying drive into Tampa. If you're trying to get to Tampa, and even just me traveling to the airport or to downtown or anything like that. So on the north side up here where I live, there's this giant lake. It's like 2,000 acre lake, Lake Tarpon. And then if you live further south, the bay is dividing that St. Petersburg area from Tampa. There's bridges across, they're slow, they're crowded, or they're toll roads. And either way, this is just a common thing. When you live in Pinellas County, you kind of have to go through this little traffic mousetrap to get into Tampa. And there's not huge reasons why you have to go to Tampa. And thankfully the airport is kind of on the west side of Tampa, so you don't have to drive all the way through the city to get to it. But it is still this just kind of mousetrap feel. Okay, and the last thing to know about Pinellas County, this might be my favorite thing. Each of these towns that's in this county really kind of has a nice little charming downtown. Because of the way the county is kind of crowded, the towns are kind of square. And probably one of the few towns without some kind of downtown is like Eastlake, and that's the newest area in the county. I like this feel of some kind of downtown, even if it's not very big, just kind of having a central kind of heartbeat and vibe to your town. And typically when you have something like this, you have a lot more things that are walking distance. Even if you're maybe not walking distance from your home, but maybe you can drive to one area and walk to a few different things for an evening or an afternoon. And that is something that a lot of you ask about when you move here. And if not walking, definitely biking distance very easily, where a lot of the new suburb style towns just don't have that kind of accessibility. And then also by having these more local charming downtowns, a lot of these towns in Pinellas County don't allow big chains like Chick-fil-A or things like that to have locations central to town. They want them out on the highway, out on US 19, which is kind of inconvenient at times, but it's actually really nice and slows down everything a little bit in the middle of town. Keeps all the busyness out there on the highway that we all despise and gives more of a quiet feel in the middle of town. And this is not just Tarpon Springs, but a lot of these towns are this way. So if you're thinking about moving to the Tampa area, hopefully this gave you a little more information about what Pinellas County is like and kind of whether or not it's for you. And we would love to hear from you. As I said before, we are a team of real estate professionals, and we'd love to help you find the place of your dreams. Give us a call, send us a text, send us an email. We'd love to connect. Thanks for coming by.